just decided to follow my love and go to culinary school. I did enter a white male dominant field as a woman of color. My restaurant may not be in my community in San Francisco. I'm a native of San Francisco, but I always find ways to have a presence here and give back.
Hi everyone, welcome to Fem Food Friday, where I speak with successful female leaders in the food industry. I'm your host Shannon, and I'm very excited to introduce the owner of an Emeryville favorite, Fernae McPherson. Fernae, it's great to meet you, and thank you for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I am excited to have this chat today.
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing a little bit about your career journey and what led you to opening Minnie Bell's Soul Movement.
So my love for food started very young. I just enjoy being in the kitchen with my aunt, my grandmother, my mother. Minnie Bell's is a combination of my great aunt and my grandmother's names, and they just inspired me to cook. After culinary school, I did a lot of community events, catering, teaching youth cooking classes, and I started to formalize more around 2011 after reaching out to different business resources that can help me with growing. And one of those nonprofits was La Cocina, which is a nonprofit organization that helps women of color and immigrant women formalize their food businesses. So that's when I started to formalize more and do pop-ups, catering, started with a food truck, but it was just my love of food that made me go to culinary school and want to get into the food industry.
That's great. I mean, that's an interesting journey. And I really like how the name Minnie Bell's is so meaningful. I think that's wonderful. And why did you, start to make soul food, and why did you choose the location of Emeryville for Minnie Bell's?
Food that Minnie Bell's represents is the food that I grew up eating. Like, I put my little twist and things on stuff, but that was the food that I saw, my grandmother, my auntie, my mom cooking, and food that's near and dear to me. When I came out of culinary school, I always felt like, okay, well, what am I going to do? I was learning, had just come from learning all these different French techniques, trying to figure out how do I put that into what I do. But I realized, like, not long after that, I could just do what resonates to me, what I grew up eating, and make it so that people will love it, just as well as some may love the fancy French food that, culinary school. So.
No, that's great. I notice sometimes when I go to restaurants where people have made the food that they've grown up eating, it's really special and it feels like I'm eating a little piece of home. And so that's great to hear.
I also love to eat food that, grew up in that other folks are doing from their cultures. Like, I love that. Like, it's being able to taste a piece of something that I didn't taste when I was younger, and just introducing yourself to new things. So I think when we cook the food that we love and that we grew up eating, we just feel like, oh, well, everyone knows about this food just because it's so, normal for us. But a lot of people didn't grow up eating soul food or all the other different foods that's out there. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You said it perfectly. And as a member of Berkeley Women in Business, I really loved your idea of having a Women's History Month dinner. What inspired you to do this, and do you hope to continue this tradition next year or expand to other important events?
Well, I've been doing Women's History dinners for the last 4 years, and it was before COVID hit. I did them with La Cocina. Every month it was called A Week of Women in Food. And so it would be a series of dinners for a whole week, and different chefs, different women chefs would curate these dinners, and usually it was more than one chef for a dinner, so a collaboration of chefs with amazing food from different backgrounds. And so this year I just chose to do it at Minnie Bell's because we weren't having, of course, our normal Week of Women in Food with La Cocina because of COVID. So I just wanted still do something to celebrate Women's History Month and also raise money for another nonprofit. That's a women-led nonprofit that helps the community with groceries. So I'm always looking to do something, especially for different community platforms that's really out there doing the work, doing the footwork, and really helping the community.
And I may be getting a little personal here, so I completely understand if you don't feel comfortable answering. But at Berkeley Women in Business, we hope to learn from accomplished female leaders like yourself. And I was curious to know if, as a female business owner, you faced obstacles and how have you worked to overcome those challenges?
I got an externship with Chef Tanya Holland of Brown Sugar Kitchen in Oakland. So it was another woman of color that gave me an opportunity, which I always appreciate. But I also wanted to get more experience. And after that, leaving Brown Sugar, I was not able to find a job anywhere. It was very, very, very tough. So I had no other option but to create my own lane. And that's how I went into business so quick. It's because I couldn't get the opportunity and that experience that I really, really wanted in other restaurants. So that just forced me to create my own lane. And just doing that in general is hard, getting access to capital and things like that is extremely hard. So doing the research to find resources that help was the key to me being able to grow and formalize more. The La Cocina program, they provide kitchen space. So I was able to just be around other women that were on the same journey that I was on. And that experience in itself was just almost all the experience that I was looking for, just trying to go into other kitchens, because we gained so much from each other and we're able to just pull energy from each other to stay on our journeys, because we're all on that same journey.
Yeah, it's so interesting how many unexpected opportunities just rise up when you're not really sure of anything. But I mean, Minnie Bells is doing great. So I just always like to ask, what advice would you give a young woman who is trying to create her own business? Or do you have any advice to your former self?
Resources is number one. I think platforms like this, where we're able to have this discussion and it's not an interview that someone is reading. These are words that are like coming from me and stories that are coming directly from me. Mm-hmm. It's also very helpful. And just to know that business is not gonna always look up. It's gonna be some down moments, but you push through those moments to be able to keep learning and keep growing. Like you have to take something from every experience, good or bad. But resources is the number one key. Reach out to people who are doing the same thing that you want to do, and get advice. Like, cooperative learning is huge. You learn so much from so many people. So surround yourself with the people that are doing the same things that you are. And it's definitely a mindset. You definitely have to have the right mindset in order to sustain, in order to move forward, because that's the strongest point of being in business, is having a business mindset.
And I'm really excited to try Minnie Bells in Emeryville. So I was wondering, do you have a favorite item from the menu or one that you'd recommend me to try?
I think, we're a fried chicken joint, that's, we specialize in a rosemary fried chicken. So the fried chicken is definitely the highlight of what we do. An ideal combo to have is our mac and cheese, fried chicken, and cornbread.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Renee. It was great having you on Fem Food Friday.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed chatting with you.
Thank you. And to everyone watching, I'll see you next time.